Hello, and welcome to another episode of eBay Scavengers. This is episode number 113 on ebayscavengers.com. I tried to say it as fast as I could.
Well, that was good.
Thanks.
So, the past several weeks, it seems like it's been quite a few weeks in a row, we've been doing interviews with other sellers, mainly just because we've been coming across a lot of interesting people that we've been wanting to talk to. So it's been great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But today we just thought we would talk amongst ourselves, and we have a bit of a topic which I think would be interesting.
Which is?
Relationships.
Just in general, or?
No. I mean, I see a lot of videos where people are selling as a couple.
Right.
And we just thought, I don't know, I don't know how many of you out there are selling with a partner. It seems like there's a lot of people selling by themselves.
Right.
But if you're selling with a partner, I think this might be interesting. Although I do read in the comment section of our blog where a lot of people are saying, I wish I could it's my wife involved, or I could get my husband involved.
Right, yep.
It is interesting because we've been working together now for a long time.
The good thing is we started doing work together since we met each other. Different kind of work, tech, video, web work. So that was kind of like built into our relationship from the beginning. So that helps.
And we had already run a business, or been running a business where we were kind of like contract its workers for companies and on its profits. So
right.
We had already kind of done that. But it was interesting. You're the one that started the eBay store.
Yeah, so I was kind of doing it. It was kind of like a hobby, right? I mean, I had done eBay since the beginning, since like 99. Just buying stuff, selling records, selling weird stereo equipment, selling
But I think
things,
it sounded as if it was more, and tell me if I'm wrong, it sounded like it was more like what normal people do. Where
Yeah.
they have stuff of their own, and they're like, instead of me donating this, I'll sell it online.
Right. And then my mom took hold in like early 99. That's when she got her account too. And she was selling stuff. So I was kind of helping her figure out, because you had to do FTP to put, photos up and stuff like that. So I kind of I knew it was a possibility, and when we left New York, I sold a bunch of our stuff on eBay. So it was always kind of something that I kind of did here and there. So when we moved to the country, what we were doing was we had little goals. We talked about this before, but we had small goals. I think our first goal was to buy a Vitamix or a Sun oven, one of those two, which are both quite expensive. So.
But really, in the beginning, and maybe for the first, was it even a year or at least 6 months?
Yeah.
You would be just going up at nighttime.
Right.
Once a week, once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you would do like a marathon, taking pictures of like 20 or 30 things and listing them on auction. And I wouldn't do anything. You were doing everything.
Right. I did everything. I would model clothes, put the camera on a self-timer.
I just enjoyed the money. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, right. But soon, we kind of realized, well, number one, I was like, I would really love help cleaning shoes. Like, I would love it if you cleaned all these while I took pictures of them, because...
Now, to be fair, I feel like it was me more like,
how
you're making money doing this. If I helped you,
yeah, we
could make more money. And I remember, I kind of wedged my way into your little room that you had, and I kind of found a corner and I started cleaning shoes, and I think you were a little prickly at first.
Because you know why? Because I'm like perfectionist. I'm like, you have to use the right color. You need to know what to do. But I mean, obviously, it's easy to learn how to clean shoes. Yeah. So that was good. I think you're obsessive compulsive about organizing and cleaning. So I think you enjoyed that.
Well, I think one thing I brought to the table was I like to, like you said, organize.
Yeah.
And I could see, and I'd start making piles of things we could take pictures of together and start to set goals. We do this pile and this pile and this pile, and if we just did one a day, we could keep ramping things up. I mean, it was really in the early days when we realized it was a numbers game.
Right.
I mean, even when we had a very small store.
Or before we had a store, it was just items.
Yeah, I mean, we realized if we put up 30 things, we would sell, whatever, 6 to 10 things. If we put up 100 things, we'd sell 30 things. We just saw, like, that's how it worked.
What we started to do was, the reason we kept going was, we said, if we sell 30%, 1/3 of what we put up this week, then we'll keep going.
Right.
And we kept selling 1/3 or more.
But people have heard this part of the story. I think today I want to talk about how much we fight.
People don't hear the fight. I edit the fights out of this podcast.
We fight a lot.
I will have you know.
I mean, let's be honest. We like to fight.
No, I wouldn't say fight because that sounds really bad. But we argue. Well, that doesn't sound any better.
We both have very strong opinions, and neither of us are shy about sharing them with the other person.
Yeah. That's very true.
And, I think, and I wonder how this would be for other couples or people who work together. To us, at the end of the night, we always try, we always say, don't go to bed angry. I think almost except for maybe a couple times that's worked.
We've been together for almost 10 years. We met in 2004, and
I can only remember one time
I can remember two times that we actually went to bed angry, where I was like, I'm so pissed at you. I can't remember why.
Mainly just because we had an argument right before we went to bed. That's like, normally we have it during the day. But you know what? I always say this and kind of half joking. I was like, I like to fight with you.
I don't know why you say that.
Because what I mean is, I remember growing up in a house where my parents did not get along, but they never really fought. They were just really cold to each other. And if they would fight, it was behind closed doors, and so it was a really bad situation. I like the fact
to be out in the open.
I like the fact that when we disagree, we can just get it out
and be done with it.
We listen to each other. It doesn't always work the first time, but we get it out there. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, I've always said everything I need to say, and like I always try to remind you, the important thing is we respect each other.
Right. Right. And I mean, that has a lot to do with how the business is run, because when you're in a partnership and in a business with someone, I mean, you really have to, there's no separation. You're like, we're fighting about a customer returning something. Right. This isn't like I'm fighting because you didn't clean the dishes.
Right.
Although you'd probably yell at me for that because I'm often the one
right.
who doesn't do the dishes. But it doesn't help that we have a huge sink that can hold all the dishes we own in it. You really have to let those be productive kind of arguments when it comes to the business.
Well, I think that's why, we're always trying to encourage other sellers to not get caught up in the drama that can happen on eBay.
Because it's a drama in your relationship.
Because trust me, we have been through all of that. When you have a seller that emails you, it really feels like a personal affront. And we've had days, especially in the early times of our store. We had whole days. I think the one time we had a week that got just ruined by someone because we let them,
Yeah.
Because we engaged in high dramatics. We started getting into email fights with this person.
And then we're fighting with each other about what to say next.
And that's why, I started to make jokes, but it's for real about just having corporate policies.
Yeah.
We now just have these policies. So if someone wants to return something, if someone's angry about something, we just give them back their money. No matter how much it is, as long as person doesn't feel like they're scamming us, we just give them back their money. It's just painless for the most part, and it's quick.
Yeah, and it's done.
And really we do that, or I like to do that because for our relationship, because,
Oh, that's sweet.
It's true. It's $50, $10, $100, none of that is worth, having a bad time around you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do want to say that the good thing about having a partner who you live with, having this business together is, you can split up the tasks. Like we interviewed Susie the other week, who has a virtual assistant, and she's like, it's great because I have this other person listening for me. And I'm like, oh, she's basically hiring like
Me.
Jay.
I mean, yeah, like I'm like your virtual
exactly.
assistant.
Except I do all the listing.
Right.
But yeah, it's great to have a partner. Like my mom right now, her husband is about to retire in a year or so. And she is like seriously training him right now. I mean, she is like,
he's starting to get into it.
she's teaching him how to ship. She's teaching him how to photograph certain things, you know, how to list things. And he's listed stuff. So I think they're going to be, you know, a couple who does eBay now, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, a 2-person eBay team can do a lot.
Yeah. And you know what? I really think, you know, that if you have a partner, if you can pull them into something on eBay, it really is
Suck them
interesting
in.
because it gets rid of a lot of the complaints I see in a lot of people's blogs on the community boards. It's just, I think it can be very lonely, you know? Like you're all day, every day, we always say it, the unglamorous life of putting things on eBay. It's not fun all the time, but you know, because we're together, we're always taking breaks, having lunch.
Right.
If we get bored, we hop in the car, we go somewhere.
You can go shopping.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and we can talk to the great thing is being able to talk to people, the other person, about an issue. You're like, how should we handle this? Let's figure it out.
To get perspective.
Yeah, you're just like...
I mean, Ryan, I know this doesn't happen to you where you like lose all perspective of a situation.
I don't.
I know you don't. I mean, it does not happen to you.
You're horrible. This is a horrible
And it's good to
interview.
have someone else, you know, say like, look, this sucks, but it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Let's write it off.
Right.
You know, let's move on. We have a whole business to worry about. I know one of these guys, and I've mentioned him. It's before. He lives down the street from us. He does not know I sell on eBay, but he told me he sold on eBay, and I'd asked him all these questions about it, and he said he quit his store because of a bad buyer. He got so
bad
mad.
buyer.
He got so mad, and he felt eBay didn't back him up. He in revenge, canceled his store to stick it to eBay.
It's so crazy.
I mean, it's so great. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he just, you know, basically cut off a whole source of income
For nothing.
for something. I don't know.
So he obviously did not have a partner to help cool him down.
Yeah, it's all ego and like,
Yeah.
I get it. Trust me, you know, like,
Yep.
hell, I got a speeding ticket a couple days ago. And,
Oh, God.
you know, it's just like, I know how that feels like. I have to stop myself from thinking like, God, I just want to like go crazy. Like it makes me so mad.
Yeah.
You know?
But you have no control over
You know what?
it.
I got caught speeding. We all speed. I just happened to get caught. Pay the bill, whatever.
Yeah. But you had me to be calm. Wait, I wasn't calm. I was pissed too.
Yeah.
Because I was in the car with you.
So, you know, one thing that's interesting to me, Ryan, is that you really haven't had a lot of shitty, like, menial labor jobs that a lot of us have had.
No, I haven't. I'm lucky in
Which
that
is great.
respect. Well, the thing for me was I had parents that were independent, so I was always able to work for them. So that, you know, instead of like working at a sandwich shop or something,
But
I would
did you
work for
imagine
them.
your life would be like this?
No, and that's the thing about like having parents who are in the craft show circuit or, you know, independent contractors or whatever. You're like, I'm never going to do what they do. And here I am doing exactly both those things.
Right.
Both the things my parents do.
Fixing
up
houses and selling things online.
Because it's what you know. You're like, I know how to do this because I saw my parents do it, so I know that I can do it. You
See,
know?
I think that's why I'm really glad that I met you, because I've worked very many menial jobs, minimum wage jobs, and even working up into, you know, professional jobs, but being really a grind.
Yeah.
And I know I was raised with parents that, you know, actually worked, like had careers.
Right.
And that's what I was kind of like trained for. You know, I had like a classical education, I guess. You know? And I just remember even graduating from college and not really knowing what I was supposed to do. I mean, not that school I don't think school necessarily has to teach you a specific task. I think it's good if you want to. You know, I'm more of a liberal arts education, but I just remember.
Well, you left being like, I don't have a single clue.
Yeah,
as
like,
to what
wow,
I would do.
I've read a bunch of books. I kind of know a lot of things, but
what do I do now?
But I guess that's kind of
What did you do? You went to Europe.
Yep, right? I started. Yep, you know,
that's pretty freaking awesome.
I was big into traveling, so you know, because I helped put myself through school by cooking, so I actually went to Europe and cooked, not like a chef cook, like fancy, like cooking,
like you flip burgers.
Yeah, like basically making sandwiches. Yeah, but you know, I lived in a lot of different places, and you know, and so I cooked for. I worked in restaurants for a while.
Yeah, that's hard work.
Did other kinds of things, you know, and then you know got into the video stuff, kind of on the other. And you went through the technical end, and I went through more of like the organizing, telling story end.
Yep, exactly.
You know,
like writing news.
Right. So, but I just think it's interesting. I never would have thought I would end up doing what we're doing now, but it makes so much sense.
Yep,
like,
I love it.
This is what I always actually wanted to do, because I've always loved to scavenge.
Yep.
And I love to travel, and this has allowed us to do both those things.
Absolutely. So when we go to bed at night, we go, I love our life. That's what we do. Yeah. That honestly happens.
Does it?
I love our life.
Yeah. I mean,
we can stay up as late as we want and sleep as late as we want.
I think that's the other thing, is that if you have this kind of lifestyle, it really, I know for me, I just always have to remember to be grateful, because, you know, it's like, this is, I think, a rare thing to be able to find a lifestyle where you're able to have pretty low stress and, you know, be with someone you enjoy, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's something actually Mikey and Wendy talked about when we first met them. Was they were like, it really is necessary for us to like to be around each other, because we work together all the time. We live in a small town, so our social circle is tiny. You know, it's not like we live in New York and we like going out every night. It's like we watch movies every night at home and make popcorn. Like, that's what we do. Yep. But that's what we want to do. Yep. That's what we did in New York. That's what we did in San Francisco.
And, you know, we've talked about this before. I mean, I know me coming from parents who, like, my dad would wake up early in the morning. You know, my parents would go off to work in separate places, and would come home in the evening time. I mean, I just find that, I think that's the typical American lifestyle, it seems like. I mean, that's just so... It's just so weird you could get married to someone that you don't really spend a lot of time with.
Right. I think at this point in our relationship too, it would be so weird if like one of us went to an office all day and didn't see each other, and didn't, like, even when you're in the other building taking pictures and I'm in one building, we're like on chat, on text, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What should I do about this? Like, wouldn't it be weird if we didn't talk to each other all day?
It would be.
It'd be so weird.
I think one of the other things about having a partner who you live with and you're doing eBay with is really talking through problems and its mistakes.
Yep.
You know, and that's a big thing, I'm sure, for any business at all. But anytime there's a problem in our business, we try and, you know, confront it head on, no matter how painful it might be.
Right. And being able to admit that you made a mistake, like, that's a big deal.
Yeah, you know, and I think if I were to be working alone, I might let things go for a longer time, because, you know, we all have problems with denial or like getting overwhelmed, and that's really nice to have a partner who's part of your business. Is that if I'm feeling overwhelmed with something, if I'm having a shitty day, normally you're not.
Right, you can switch off.
And vice versa, and pull ourselves out of that. Because really, you know, especially what we do, I mean, we don't really have time to have a bad week, you know, where we just aren't feeling like doing something, or feeling lazy or tired or depressed, or all those things that is very normal for all of us, you know. It's nice to have someone else, like, when that happens, to, bring perspective and to be like, let's just go out and do something.
Right.
Or let's make this our Saturday, let's,
right. That's kind of what we did yesterday is we were like, we have some stuff to do on the other side of, the mountain. Let's just go make that our day. Like, we'll move everything we were supposed to do today till tomorrow.
Yeah.
And have another person be like, okay, that's okay. Like, give permission to do that.
And it's great because I have someone else too who I can talk about the things I want to do.
Yeah.
Because, we always talk about this. eBay isn't it just another grind? I mean, we aren't selling stuff online just so we can have another shitty job,
Exactly.
Like, we do this so we can say, like, in September, let's go back to Amsterdam.
Which we actually are going to do.
Like, let's rent bikes this time, and let's take 2 weeks and just, like, bike
around the country.
And
we might do that.
And, like, scavenge stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's like someone you can kind of share those ideas with. I mean, granted, even if you do have a partner who doesn't work on eBay, you can share those things with them. But, it's great because you're both collectively working towards that goal, every single day. And again, I have heard from other people who have partners who have a regular job, and they do kind of look at the other person kind of funny. They're like, what are you going to do for your job? But once that money comes in.
No, we have some commenters who, their husbands or wives don't like their jobs or are looking for jobs, and like, why do you bring them into your business?
That's the craziest thing to me when they're like, my husband's unemployed or he's been brought down to less than part-time. I'm like, he needs to be taking all your photos for you. Like, I don't understand the question.
Make him your slave.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you will make more money because you will be able to do a lot more. That's our thing. We split up the work. You take the photos, I list.
Yep.
That's just how it goes.
Yep. I'm the numbers guy and you're the tech guru.
That's right. That is very true. I hate the numbers. I don't want to look at the numbers. But...
And I'm not very good at writing code or doing technical stuff. So.
And so I can do that stuff to the best of my ability.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, we just thought we'd throw this out there because it's not directly about business, but it has everything to do about running our business.
Right.
About its relationship and how we treat each other. And, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up. Sometimes I watch these YouTube videos where I'll be a guy and a girl.
Yeah.
And I notice that the guy is doing all the talking. And sometimes the camera's almost only on him and she's like a little bit on the side.
Yeah.
Do I do that?
At times you do that. You are very aggressive and pushy. However, I will say that I am also aggressive and pushy, so I push back.
Good.
And I tell you when to shut up and let me talk.
Because I don't want to be like one of those guys, right?
Well, I think a lot of guys are like that naturally, and they kind of push women aside and just talk.
What a bunch of dicks.
Yeah. So I do notice that on eBay videos sometimes. But, so the ladies just have to be like, I'm going to say something now, so shut up.
Yep.
That's what I do. Right?
Yep.
I mean, wouldn't you agree?
You do.
From the beginning, actually, I remember...
I mean, that's how it should... I would not want to be with a woman that didn't speak up. Like, that would be the most boring relationship I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, from the beginning of our relationship when we were doing tech stuff and we would go to conferences and whatever, I would be like, you have to let me have space to talk. It's not so much that I'm like, you're not letting me talk, but it's like, you have to give the other person space to jump in.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. I mean, on our podcast, I feel like...
that's some, like, 1950s kookiness of, like, this idea that, like, a man wants a woman who's, like, meek and quiet. And, like, that just seems like the most boring thing in the world,
Yeah. I mean, there are different people who have different personalities where one person is more shy and whatever. But, I think... in general, I mean, this is a whole other philosophical conversation we can have. I think in general, men don't give women enough room to talk. So you do see that sometimes, but I think you're pretty good at it.
There you go. Good. I got,
you're all right.
I got I got a little compliment.
So if this discussion sparks any ideas, or if you're trying to get your partner to work with you,
or if you have a different experience, we'd love to hear really anything what you have to say. Just go to ebayscavengers.com and leave us a comment, and we always have good conversations in there. So
keep on working together.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.